Thank you for tuning in to I've Got Favor, where it's your time to shine with your host, Prophetess T. Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are on God's green earth. Guys, thank you for tuning in to I've Got Favor, where it is your time to shine with me, your hostess, Prophetess T. Guys, I am so excited about this guest that I'm about to have on. You guys have seen her previously if you're regular watchers of the podcast or listeners of the podcast. She was on here earlier this year as an alumni of the Music Love Awards, nominee many years over. Voice, let me tell you, a voice. Y'all just a voice, man. You're just gonna have to check her out. You're gonna have to get into her music. I'm gonna have her talk about that a little bit as well. But I brought her on specifically today to talk about something we don't get into. And I think this is a good opportunity now for you to go get your friends, your relatives, your cousins, your haters, your instigators, all them people that be watching and don't be saying nothing but gossiping in the background, and bring them into the conversation, because this one is going to be some really good tea. I think it's a conversation that the church has needed to have, and we don't. And who I am talking about, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who don't know, is Pastor Phyllis Wong out of Florida. She decided to do something now that I don't know anybody to have ever done. It's possibly been done, but I don't know anybody personally that has done it. But she actually decided to put a book out about recovering after divorce. So the name of her book is called Heal Out Loud: My Recovery After Divorce. And it's actually a book that helps you kind of navigate through maybe some of the things that you weren't expecting, to kind of make you process your process that you're going through. And I just thought it was really cool that she decided, I guess, to utilize this time of, recovering from the divorce as a time to actually write about it and share her experiences with everybody. I mean, she actually put herself out there, and I'm not mad about it. I'm actually glad, because I think that we need to talk about these things that we sweep under the carpet and we don't discuss or we consider taboo. Because I mean, think about it. She's a pastor. She's a praise and worship leader, a wonderful woman of God, and yes, a woman of God who's divorced now. So without further ado, we need to get into this good tea and talk about it. Can we talk about it today? So, ladies and gentlemen, introducing none other than that fabulous voice from Zion, Pastor Phyllis Wong.
Hey, everybody, how are you?
Oh, I'm so excited to have you back on again. Thank you again for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Yes, grab your teas, grab your waters, because we're going to talk.
I'm saying I actually wanted to have you before everybody else got you, but I was a late bloomer in it. I mean, DJ
You're
Bertram got you first.
Yeah, but you're actually the first after
But
everything is released. So
I
you are the
wanted to
first.
so bad. But so prayerfully, if anybody didn't get to see that interview, they'll get to catch on this. And hopefully I'll cover some things maybe you guys didn't get an opportunity to discuss. But I want to get into the juicy juice of it. Why share? Why share? Why did you decide to do this?
My younger sister asked me that question a few weeks ago, actually. And she was like, why share? Because a lot of times in my area, in my walk-in ministry, we suffer in silence, right? We can love out loud. We can get engage, we can go through the process out loud. But as soon as you say, I'm going through divorce or we're separated, you get that shh, we don't talk about that, right? And it's an ugly side to some of our Christian walks that most people don't want to talk about, right? They don't want to talk about how they felt. They don't want to talk about how vulnerable it made them feel. And for me, all of my life, I've been put in a box. All of my life, I've been told to do something, how to act, how to walk, how to talk. And this is something that I wanted to take back. This is a power that I was like, no, I loved him out loud. I was broken out loud. I was humiliated out loud. Why not take that power back and heal out loud? And I know it made people uncomfortable. And I really didn't care, because if my praise is contagious, why not my healing be just as contagious? Made me say, oh, at first it was like a little hashtag, oh, don't mind me, I'm just healing out loud. Oh, don't mind me being a villain, I'm just healing out loud. But the more I started to say it, the more I began to heal out loud. And a lot of people in the praise and worship arts ministry are either going through that privately, or, you wake up one morning and they're happy, go jolly, and they're married. And then the next morning, bam, they're divorced. You'd be like, oh, well, what happened? Well, now you can ask me what happened, because, I don't care.
Amen. But I thank you for being transparent because
Thank
in
you.
all honesty, reading your story, I mean, you were really raw with it because you even talked about. Let's go back to the beginning, when the man of God first started approaching you with, the word that
Mm,
you're my wife, and then the pressures of the church.
yeah.
So let's talk about that because
Oh,
I
it
think
was.
that is
It
an
was.
issue in itself.
It was pressure. And I know I'm finna get a lot of hate when I say that, but I really felt pressured. And it was funny because I can remember my mom be like, you're not, you don't want this. You're not ready for this. Please wait. And I was like, I was trying, but that pressure, it felt being crushed. There is being crushed by God and being pressured by people. And the pressure by people outweighed the crushing of God. And I was just like, you know what? Let's just go. Let's just get married. Now, in my heart of hearts, I'm like, this, if it lasts more than a year, I'll be surprised.
Phil's, I only
So I
know
was
it.
just like,
I wasn't expecting that. You threw me.
yeah, like, but that's how I felt on the inside. If it lasts more than a year, I'll be surprised. And I was just like, you know what? All right, we'll get married. And we literally got married. We went, got our court papers, and we got married in our elder's kitchen. To gave the little, I was in gym clothes and sweats and the tape top. It was not the little white dress. And I had the flowers picked out for 6 months. We were literally at the kitchen table with my daughter as a witness. So it was just like, we're here. What you see is what you get. And literally, when I said I do, that's when the things begin to open. And I was like, bro, I didn't get married to get divorced. Like, bro, like, what you mean? Like,
Yeah.
we weren't even 24 hours in. And I was just like, why couldn't this be revealed before, when we had the conversation of, this is who I am? Because I am in the limelight, there are going to be people who will come up to you to be like, hey, I had that, or hey, I smashed that, and I need you to be man enough to either cover me or man enough to say I knew all about you. Like we had the conversation. Had it, I was upfront. I was like, listen, I can give you names, I can give you numbers, and I can give you locations because I am that open, especially with my partners. And he was like, okay. And I was like, is there anything you want to tell me? He was like, no. But then the inboxes came and the disrespect at the front door came and the things that he was trying to protect me from began to unravel itself. And I will go to this isn't what marriage is supposed to be. We're just
Not like right off from the get-go.
off
Don't
the
start.
rip. I'm like, it felt like a tsunami. Like, forget Hurricane Helena and Hurricane Milton. It was like a tsunami. Like, just overshadowed and overpowered, and I could not breathe and I could not get up. And when I was like reaching an olive branch for help, it was watered down with, oh, pray about it. Pray for communication, pray for strategy to save your marriage. And I'm like, I can't pray for strategy if I'm the only one trying to save this marriage. Like I didn't walk in it by myself. Why should I have to fight for it by myself? Like, this isn't what godly marriage is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a 3-string cord. Me and Jesus, we walk hand in hand by myself when I was single. If you're not going to be a part of the puzzle, I need you to let me know. And one of the things is he didn't let me know. I had to find out. And it's a lot worse when somebody finds out when the opportunity to tell them was given.
True.
So,
True.
and then when I would go to my leaders at the time to be like, this is what's happening, this is what's going on, I got hit with, well, what did you do?
Wow. I'm shocked at that.
Yeah, what did you do to cause him to be angry? Nothing, but love him and ask where he was. I can't say that because we're on a Christian podcast, but one of the things I
True.
would um I would ask, or one of the things I would say when he would come home from work was, don't kiss me, go wash.
Mm.
Go wash. He would be like, but I just came from work. You don't smell like walking pneumonia, and you don't smell like a cement plant. You smell too clean to be working a 12-hour shift, sir. Go take a shower. And don't come kiss me until you do.
Mm.
No. And it would be funny because I wouldn't say anything. The Holy Spirit would reveal things. And I remember a time my mom got real upset. She was like, he's doing this. I said, Mom, if you don't see me tripping, why are you tripping? Because it's already been revealed. I'm just waiting on the door. Because a lot of times and a lot of things, we move too quick and we move out of the will of God so quickly that, okay, I repent for moving out of your will. Now we're going to do this in the way that, in your timing, in the way that you see fit. I move when you move, God, just like that. And
So
it
let me
took,
ask you this, if you don't mind me,
yeah, let's
you
go.
know, you can tell me to mind my business. I'm stepping out. I didn't cross the boundary, whatever. So in the process, because I feel, and just being transparent myself, Danny and I, when we first got married, Danny knows I tell all our business.
Hey,
I
Uncle
always
Danny.
told, I always said, yeah, poor Uncle Danny. I said, I always told him, because like our first 6 years, it was like hell on high water. We struggled. And I told him I kind of felt we like he kind of felt pressured into it. Like I've always said, I knew I was wife material. I always told him that. When we were dating, we both had an ideal that we did want to marry. We both wanted to get married. But I felt like the church kind of was, like you said, pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. And I think that this was our problem. And our problem was they knew we were living together. And instead of dealing with that, it was when y'all getting married, you know?
Right.
Instead of let's talk about it for real. Let's sit down and have a conversation about it. They kind of it was almost as if they had a blind or they kept a blind eye, except for one sister. She finally came over and said something to me. She says, "Do you want to be married?" And I said, "I absolutely." She goes, "Well, the cow shouldn't. Why would you want to purchase the cow if you're gonna get the milk for free?" So I'm like,
Hmm.
"Are you calling me a heifer? What is?" She just did. So conviction actually came over me, and I had said something to Danny after that service, and I was like, "You know what? Our situation is one because he kind of saved me from a bad situation, but I actually jumped into a bad thing,
Mm-hmm.
moving forward with him." And I said maybe we shouldn't mess around no more until we decide we're really gonna, do this. So I'm not, we shouldn't sleep together and none of that anymore. Danny wasn't feeling that. So,
I
but
mean,
I like I said, I think because of the pressure of the church, though, I think, and I say this, he never confirms or denies this. I said I kind of feel like you kind of asked me to get married because of that, and we really were not ready to get married. We had things that we needed to deal with. So, Phyllis, did she fall off? Oh no, boy, that internet's just giving us away. Okay. Well, we're gonna see. Just to give y'all a heads up, she's down in Florida, so they had a lot of issues with Helena and Hurricane Milton. So I think that where she's staying at, the internet's kind of wanky. So as soon as she gets back in, we'll get in. But anyways, talking about continuing our conversation, in case you can hear it. Um, I think that sometimes maybe God is trying to reveal some things about you yourself, you and the person maybe that needs to be worked on. So God will allow you to experience some things. And sometimes our perception of what we're seeing is uh, not clear. So instead of facing what it is that God's trying to expose to us that needs to be dealt with, we're so in our emotions about whatever we're experiencing that we don't see the lesson. So that's what I was going to ask you. Do you think God was actually showing you something about yourself in the relationship?
ooh, that's a good one. Absolutely. So I know for me, the lesson that I learned from in myself was I was too trusty of people. I would just believe what they say without showing me the Carfax, right? Without
Mm,
question. You told me the sky was blue. Okay, the sky was blue. I believe you. My motto was you can't tell me something about them that I don't already know because I'm a defender by nature, right? I will defend you when you're right. I will defend you when you're wrong. I will defend you hell or high water, but don't embarrass me. That was one of the things that I learned about myself throughout this process is ask the questions. Don't be afraid of confrontation. When something is wrong, you need to open up your mouth and say, "It's this is wrong. This is against the covenant that we made with God. This is against principle." Because if I am a woman of God that I say that I am. What do I look like having a husband and a boyfriend
Mm.
and you being okay with the fact that I had another man on the side? Funny enough, funny enough, I didn't write that in the book. But I went to an engagement out of town, and I always have accountability partners whenever I go out of town. And on this particular trip, he calls and was like, "Hey, I know you have a woman with needs, and I haven't been home. And if you find somebody that will meet your needs, I will support that." I said, "No,
What?
sir, that's against the vows that we made to God, sir. Why would I go out of town to supply the need when the need is supposed to be home?"
Hello.
I,
Man, talk about a red flag.
listen, marriage sex is the best sex. That's all I'm saying because it's legal, it's undefiled. I don't want to be out the will of God
Amen.
when we are the will of God. That's all I'm saying. Like, no, I'll wait.
Amen.
And I didn't confront him then because, I'm just like, you're just joking. And I remember I told one of my brothers that he's like, this man is crazy. I can remember the look on his face when I told him. And
So
this
did
is
you
during
think
the
that
process
maybe he
of,
was doing that? That's why he was suggesting it to you?
then I knew he was because ain't no real brother. Ain't no real man. You don't have to be saved when I make this statement. Ain't no real man that you're in relationship with, that you are exclusive with. Ain't no real man finna be okay with you not only conversating with another but making plans.
Mm.
Ain't no real man finna go for that. If that was the case, he would have stayed single. So that was like in January, December, and that was when I started to feel the disconnect. That's when I was like, okay, something ain't right. Something's not wrong. Something is wrong. Like it's not, oh no, something is wrong. And God wouldn't let me sleep. And I was like, okay, God, what is it that you're trying to show me? What is it that you're trying to show me? And during from January to May, March, I started to grieve my marriage. Like I knew my marriage was over then. I knew there was no coming back from it. And I started to be depressed. I started to grieve heavy. I was like, I'm in this state of mourning and I don't know why. I just, I don't understand this because I mentioned, hey, let's file divorce before. And he was like, no, let's not do this. I was like, no. God sometimes will have to break something in order to reshape it and mold it in the way that it's supposed to be. And if this is God's will, who am I to stop his will? I'm going to let it fall. And I'm going to let the chips fall where they may. And that's when, oh, you're a hypocrite. You're a liar. You're not a woman of God. Okay. It's fine by me. But then when everything was exposed at the end, see, y'all got to get the book,
Yeah.
but it's public record. So when everything was exposed and when everything came out, how it came out, that broke me even the more because it didn't have to go that way if you were honest.
Mm.
Because I knew I was honest from the jump. All of this could have been avoided if you've been honest. And till this day, with everything that happens, I still get pushback from people. And I had what I called an apology tour that I went around everyone that I introduced him to in the name of that's my husband. And I apologized to them. I felt so guilty, and that shame was heavy on me. You know, I have a song that says, "When you mind your business, you don't get caught up." In this area, I needed repentance. I needed people to be like, "Listen, I'm sorry for if he said anything. I'm sorry if he asked you for money that I didn't know about. I'm sorry if it was out of I apologize. I'm sorry because." Legally at the time I was still his wife, and it's not just a bad reflection on you, it's a bad reflection on me
Yeah.
as your wife. So I had a season of apology tours, and all of my brothers were like, it's not you that we want to hear the I'm sorry from. I mean, we appreciate it. You know, you have nothing to feel sorry for, but we don't want to hear from you. And I'm like, touche, touche. And even that taught me that not everything is my fault, that there's some weights I'm not meant to carry.
Amen.
That was the other thing that I learned.
That was good. And I like what you were saying, the explanation of what you started to feel in the process of finding all these things out. Was you actually started, it was as if your marriage died. So you started
Yeah.
grieving through it. And I don't think we talk about that because it is. Here it is, somebody that you've made soul ties with at this, extent of your life that said forever, you know. And now I don't think the rationalization of covenant is clear. Um, and even understanding, if you don't mind me saying this, sis, one of the things that I did learn from first my first marriage, because I was married 19
Mm-hmm.
years before, uh, to a man of God, I thought of the devil, and I know it wasn't of God. And the way that I know it wasn't of God is because, for one, it still isn't. And for two, I had every warning, but I did not pay attention to not do it, to not do it. And
That's the one.
because I was trying to escape, I jumped into it. And
Mm-hmm.
all I kept saying was, well, I can work through this. I can work through it. But I wasn't mature. I wasn't a whole healed person myself. So, I learned that I was idolizing. I was looking to him as my source instead of God. I hadn't really developed uh, who I was as an individual. I wasn't whole myself. I wasn't healed. And I think that to say it was covenant was not a God covenant, because I don't think what God joins together can't nobody put under.
That's
So
it.
I think God was like, that was all you, because I didn't tell you
Mm-hmm.
to do that. And now you gotta go,
So
will I honor it?
listen.
Yeah,
So
but
one
it's
of
you.
the in my apology to him, because I did apologize in my last statement that I made to him, um when I sent him the divorce decree, was, I'm sorry for idolizing you.
Mm,
I'm sorry for putting you in a space where only God dwelled and thinking you are man enough to handle the weight of that.
wow. That's
Um,
deep.
yeah. So, and the other thing that I said was, I pray that we never be friends. I pray that we never reconcile our differences. I pray that you get in your spirit that us reconnecting, whether it be friends, whether it be, it's not going to happen. And I pray that you get that in your spirit. Um, I release you. My daughter releases you, and we wish you well in all things. Um, just so that the closure conversation that I wanted to have in person, this is the closure conversation. Like, I'm sorry I wasn't the wife that you prayed for. I'm sorry that I undermined your authority. So you thought. I apologize for, not defending you when you were being corrected and chastised. Like, I'm sorry that, you know, I wasn't the wife that, the Instagram wife. I'm sorry for all of that. I'm sorry for the part that I played in the destruction of our marriage. I'm sorry for that. And I pray and I wish you well in all things. I pray that God opens windows and doors that no man can close. I pray those things upon you. I pray that, you know, that when, if and when we do decide to meet up, we can be cordial and respectful. Hey, how you doing? God bless you. And keep it moving. And at first, when I first wrote the letter, I remember my sister friend was like, "Ooh, that I pray we never be friends part was a little harsh." No, because my peace requires that I be this upfront. The word says, "And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, shall keep your heart and your mind." And for the sake of the Lord keeping my heart and my mind, I need to be like the coronavirus and be at least 6 to 10 feet away to protect the peace that I fought so hard to get back. Because once I released my hands off of it, because this is another thing, this made me pray harder. This made me seek God's face even the more so. And
That's
I was
good.
like, God, if God, if this is your will, then I'm going to endure it like a good soldier. But God, if this is not your will, if this is not the desire that you have for me, your daughter, make the release easy. And when I went to the courthouse, or when I seen that judge and she said your marriage is now over, the pain and the stress that was in my chest said,
Wow.
and I'm like, it shouldn't be. When it's a God marriage, it's not stressful.
Right.
It's not a burden to be married to you. It's not a burden to look at you. The
Mm-mm.
word said that love is patient, love is kind. Love doesn't keep no envy or record of wrong. Love is this and love is that. But if you're not doing your part in the love is, if you're not doing what it says in Ephesians when it says, husbands, love your wives as Christ loves the church, then you're already out of order and out of the will and alignment of God.
I think
And
you brought out such a
yeah,
good. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, sis. I'm sorry.
go ahead,
Uh,
sugar.
I think too that you're covering something that people might be missing as well. Sometimes God will allow you to suffer to draw you closer to Him, and I don't think we've known or looked at the Word to understand or to dissect that sometimes, because here we put ourselves into a situation we don't have to be in. Had we really listened or kept our ear close to God, and sometimes to draw us to a better understanding of God. When He says what He says, He means what He says, and these are the consequences of the not listening part. So you're going to have to suffer a little while. Um, And that's I'm going straight from the this the scriptures. You look at Second Corinthians 12:8-10, where it talks about it. First Peter 4:12-13, that sometimes the suffering reminds us how we so needed to
Yeah.
depend on God, like you said. So you had to get to a place where you totally said, look, God, if this is you, then I'll go through it. If this is not you, then I know you'll make it go away. So wherever you put me, I'll do what you ask of me. So I
Yeah.
think that's what we need to remember. Sometimes a situation we're in where it seems like all hell's broke loose, and it seems like God's not there. That's where He is the closest to you. Oh, I'm
Oh,
here
yes.
because I want to make sure you get this. And He's whispering and He's talking to us, and he's speaking a word over our life, and He's drawing us closer to Him. And sometimes we just miss that because we allow the emotion of the thing to overwhelm us, to keep us blinded, or to keep us weighted down. Like you said, you were taking on through your grief all the terrible things that he was around doing, because openly, you were being exposed. Your vulnerability was there.
Listen, so let's talk about that. The openness that I had to endure with the healing process. Um, Getting the looks of, you know, where's your husband? Or why are you still not married? One of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to beat the punch. I wanted to, because I know people are nosy. And I know
Mm.
people, the first thing they're going to ask us, what happened? This book explains what happened. And the people who were close, but not close enough, that only took his side of the story, was already looking at me sideways of, oh, you did cover your husband like you were supposed to, and oh, you're not a godly wife. And I had to take on the stance of, I will be the villain
Hmm.
to support his vision or support the lie. In order to make him feel good, I will take every hit, and you're going to watch me be beaten. You're going to watch my reputation take a hit. You're going to watch people not take like, I will have engagements, and people would cancel the engagements based off a rumor. You're going to watch me recover from it all, and I'm still going to smile, and I'm still going to show up, and I'm still going to perform. I'm still going to minister like I'm married. I'm a minister like I never left. Because the one thing the enemy wants to see the people of God do when things don't go their way, he wants to see a pity party. But
Yes, yes.
there is a man by the name of Job.
Hmm.
And that's the stance that I have to take going through this process. Well, I mean, whenever it's God's time, and the next one gonna be tailor made just for me. He gonna have to
Hallelujah.
he's gonna have to fight a little bit,
Uh-huh. It's all right though, as well.
but he's gonna be so tailored made for me that we're not going to compete with one another. We're going to complete each other. It's going to be so in tune with one another. They're going to say, who first one who? And I love that in this healing process, because to be honest, I'm not all the way healed yet. There's still some things in me that whenever I think of it, it still triggers. But one thing that I'm doing is I'm forgiving daily. Like, whenever I think of it, I'd be like, God, I'm, I'm even sorry that I brought that up. Please forgive me for even bringing that thought, or allow the hurt to hurt, but don't allow the hurt to stay.
Right.
And, you know, it's approaching 2 years now. And there's still little things that that little teed me off about, but that's something within myself that I have to ask God to heal me from, to deliver me from, because I don't want to go into this next phase of my life still holding on to things that I should have let go already. And a
Amen.
lot of times people are still stuck in their Christian walk because they say I forgive, but they haven't let go. And
Right.
one of the things you have to forgive and let go. Because one of the double standards that we always love to say is, oh, I can forgive you, but I don't forget.
Right. That
But
part
when
too.
you have a mind of Christ, you have to forget. Because you don't want to walk into your next season still tainted from the things that you refuse to forgive and let go of, and allow God's vengeance to do his vengeance. Because God's wrath
Mm.
versus Phyllis's wrath, Phyllis will
Yeah.
lose every time.
Hey.
Phyllis will look on the sidelines singing, "When you mind your business, you won't get caught up." While God's wrath is wrathing. When you mind your business, hey, my hands are lifted. I was created. And I laugh because
And that's her
you
song.
know
Y'all make sure y'all go download it.
it's so funny because when I wrote or I'm writing the songs that I'm writing and the things that I'm writing now, it's not from a bitter place. And I've answered my own question a few days ago. I'm like, God, how come I haven't released anything new besides this book? And he was like, because you're not done healing yet.
That's good.
And I don't want you to have to keep ministering from a broken place that you declared that you healed from. Oh,
That's
well,
good. That
okay,
is so
God.
good. That
Well,
is so
okay,
good.
God. And until you release me to do something new, I will still sing the same two songs and watch everybody do TikToks on Mind Your Business.
It's a
And,
beautiful thing, though. It's a beautiful
and
thing.
listen, I laugh now with my 2 minutes to wrap this up because 2020, 2021, God showed me that even during the film, that things can be birthed from a dead season.
Hey.
Then he took me from our God to My Soul Says Yes to Your Yes Has Cost You Something. This yes is going to require you to lose something. Are you willing to still worship me when you lose it all? And my answer is still yes, Lord, yes. And now here we are with healing out loud, my recovery. And I wasn't expecting the book to open as many doors as it's opening now, because I thought I would always be, that singer, that hype girl, that's what I thought. But the more I'm doing these interviews and the more that I'm telling my story, the more I realize that God is shifting me from just being, oh, that singer, to now that inspirational speaker to help heal a generation of broken people who have suffered in silence for too long. And if my story can help someone out of their struggle or out of their silence, then I have done my job and I am willing to do it again.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, Pastor Phyllis Wong. And once again, you can get her book, Healing Out Loud, My Recovery After Divorce, is available on Amazon. Anywhere else, Pastor?
Uh in person. So whenever you see me at my little engagements and you say, "Oh, I want a book," just come see me. I know the way.
Java. Okay. Yes. So Heal Out Loud, My Recovery After. after divorce with Pastor Phyllis Wong, and I like it because it's kind of almost written like a devotional. So she kind of gives you some things, to work to help you process your way through it. You
Yes.
got to get it and check it out. And I mean, I think it's good that if you're walking through the process, maybe every day you take a little section of it and you see light, you measure and weigh. Of course, we all heal differently. We all heard out loud differently, all that. But this is a good perspective from somebody who's actually a predominant figure in the gospel industry as well as in the church, especially when you're in a leadership position. To have somebody
Yeah.
in leadership actually tells you, you know what? It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to have uh, a marriage fail and still be okay and still give God that yes. It isn't that
Yes.
you failed, that marriage failed, not you. So,
Right.
and then looking at it from the perspective of God, and like she said, it's not just forgiving, but also really getting the healing behind the forgetting and remembering. God says He forgives and He throws it into the sea of
See,
forgetfulness. That
forgetfulness.
part we
Yes.
forget that part. It's good to have, a way to establish boundaries, but you ain't got to
Yes.
hold on to that memory and make it your. It doesn't have to be a medal or a ribbon or a yoke tagged to you. Um,
Oh, if
I think
we
you need
had
to
the
understand.
time.
Well, you know.
Ooh, that's gonna be a part two of this conversation. If we
Oh
had
yeah.
the time.
Oh, we'll have to talk about that. We'll have to bring you back most
Oh,
definitely and continue this
oh my.
conversation. It's good. I think
Oh
I think I
yes.
want to actually put a panel together because I think there's a lot more people out there that need to talk about it, and they
Oh
haven't.
yes.
So we can
I'll
all
be a
heal
part of that.
out loud. We can all heal out.
Period.
Yes.
Period.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, Pastor Phyllis Wong, make sure you go get her book. If you see her down in Florida or around, she travels across the nation. She also has music out, guys. You can get her music on all platforms. The song that she was
Yes.
telling you about, Pastor, tell me about it.
Oh God. So I do have three singles, but the one that everyone loves out of the three is called, it's a comedic quartet single called Mind Your Business. Just
Mind your
just
business.
mind your business. It is based off the scripture in the Bible where it talks about tending to the work of your own hands. And I want to say it's second or it's in the Thessalonians chapter 4. Um, where he talks about if you just stick to the work of your own hands. And it was funny how it came up. And I did not think that song was going to go how it went, and it's currently going. It is so funny to see dogs and cats and people who are not of my same faith use the little clip of my song. So everyone's getting a little word where they know it or not.
Hey, she's spreading the gospel throughout all the inhabited earth to everybody. Everywhere. The word will get,
Everybody.
it will do what it has to do. So
It,
y'all, and I think that's my favorite statement, like I tell everybody. So I want to thank you again for giving us the opportunity to have you on. I do want to bring
thank
you
you.
back again. Like I said, I think we're going to put a panel
Yes.
together and we're going to talk about this again. In the new year, we'll get that started. I'll get, some brothers in
Yeah.
on the conversation, and some clear, clear color people too. They need to have their part
Yeah.
too.
We like them. We
Yeah.
like them.
Get our clear brothers and sisters on. So, guys, once again, I encourage you check out her music. Follow her on TikTok, Facebook. You're on Instagram, everywhere you can
Insta.
find somebody. You find her, get her music, get the book, Heal Out Loud: My Recovery After Divorce by Phyllis Wong. Work your way through it. Um, and we're going to have her back on here as soon as we can, starting in the new
Yeah.
year, so we can talk about it even further because this was really good. And I hate trying to squeeze it in, in 50 minutes. It just doesn't work. So, again, thank you for the opportunity to interview you again, sis. I love you.
I
I'm
love
glad
you.
to see
Thank you for
that
having me.
you're recovering through Helena and Hurricane Milton, and you look
Yes.
good. You don't look like what you've been through. All of it.
Ah, that's a
You look good.
higher. That's a whole nother conversation. But
Oh
thank you
yeah.
for
Okay.
having me. And until next time, saints and friends.
We'll see you soon. So, guys, in my favorite words, in my favorite vegan, and to go along with Pastor Phyllis's song, "Mind Your Own Business," go on and have yourself a good day. And if you can't, don't go messing up nobody else's.
That boy.
I mean that. And Pastor Phyllis, hang on. The rest of y'all, get scat. See you soon. Don't go
Bye-bye.
nowhere, Pastor. All right.
Yes.
All right, saints and friends, listen up. When you mind your business, when you mind your whole deep business, you're home. When you won't get caught in other people's hands, 'cause you by yourself.